Welcome everyone again to the Real Estate Guru PK podcast. My name is Josh. This is Mario, and we are sitting next to Louisiana's real estate queen, from what I've been told. Her name is Terica Lynn Smith. And so, Terica, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
First and
Thank
foremost.
You for having me.
Yep. Thanks to Mario. Mario got you in town to sit down with us for a little bit. We're gonna jump straight into what Terica does. And she said everything is, nothing's off limits. We're going to ask her all kind of questions, and hopefully you learn something, and we all walk away from the show with some more knowledge.
Awesome.
So first, I think it's important to tell everybody your name again and where they can find you.
Yeah.
And then we'll just start bombing you with questions.
So, hey guys, I'm Terica Lynn Smith. You can find me on all social media platforms as Terica Lynn Smith. My Insta is Female Real Estate Guru, but you can also type in Terica Lynn Smith. I'm easy to find. So yeah.
So we had a joke earlier before we started recording, and you can Google Terica Lynn Smith and she pops up. So if you want to Google her, Google me is what she said. So Terica, tell everybody what you do.
I'm a real estate developer. I started off as a real estate agent. And then shortly after becoming an agent, I was like, I want to become a broker in real estate. And then, I became a broker. Wasn't easy. I failed the real estate exam 7 times. I wanted to quit. But after that, I was like, I need to find my niche. And my niche in real estate was working with investors. And so I started representing a lot of investors. And then I started noticing that they are making like a lot of money, flipping properties and doing different type of things like that. So I'm like, how can I get involved in something like this? I didn't have the credit. I didn't have money. Like, I was from New Orleans, right after Hurricane Katrina, very wet behind my ears. Nobody never really talked that real estate talk growing up. So i.e. why I had a hard time passing the real estate exam, because I didn't know real estate terminology, right? And so I just kept paying attention. And then one day at the closing, the real estate attorney handed me my closing folder that was supposed to be my commission check, but it wasn't my commission check. It was for the investor. I'm like, this dude made 5 figures. He ain't even do nothing. And I'm like, I picked out the paint colors. I made sure that the sockets on the wall match. I did the flooring. I showed up every day, making sure that the project was moving. And they hand me my folder, and I'm like, I'm not ungrateful, but I'm like, I made peanuts compared to what this dude just made, And so I was like, you know what I'm going to do is I'm not doing this no more. Like, I'm not going to work for a 3% commission because they're just going to keep me there. And I was like, I called all my investors and I was like, hey, you guys have been great, to me over the years, but I'm not like just going to keep doing all y'all projects and making 3% commission as a realtor. I'm doing more than a realtor job. So all my investors left me except one. And that one investor stayed with me. That's when I made my first 5-figure check. And then, from there I started making 6 figures and, so forth. But it took me to make a stand for myself to say, I'm not going to be working for peanuts no more. You're going to pay me what I'm worth, or you can just do the project yourself and then I'll put it on the market for you. But I'm not about to do 2 jobs in one.
Sure. How did it come about to get to that point? And let me explain that question. Normally, a real estate agent, which we were at the time, doesn't do any of that, right? They either list your property, or sell your property.
Yeah.
So, how did it come to the point where you were doing all these things for your client?
Right.
Come to the point where you're like, hey, wait a minute, I did X, Y, Z, because typically, I'm not asking my real estate agent to do all the stuff. So, how did it come to that? Was it a mutual thing? Did they ask you?
Right. So a lot of investors don't have time. Right. And that's how a lot of investors get haircuts in real estate, because they like, I want to get in here. I want to flip this, but they don't got the time to check on their property. They check, they like trust in other people, to make sure people are doing right or whatever the case may be. So I'm like, when I first started, I was like, that'll be a cute color. And, you should do like a black matte ceiling fan fixture here. Or we should open up this wall and, just like giving all of these different type of ideas and things like that. And so eventually, it was like, "Oh, T, what you think about this?" And
Mhm.
my ideas start becoming more and more dominant. And it got
Mhm.
to the point where I get to the project, I see people not working. I'm like, "Yo, y'all need to work. I need to put this property on the market. What y'all doing?" Like, you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
I'm like aggressive because I want
You
to
want your check?
sell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And while they sitting down chilling, I'm not getting paid. I get paid off commission. And
Mhm.
so investors appreciated that until I asked for a check.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
when they ask for a check, like, yo, who you think you is? You
I
don't got
mean,
no
I would
money.
think that they would hire you.
I thought the same thing, but they didn't. So, like I said, I lost everybody but one. I rebuilt my investor portfolio with that one investor, and he started telling people what I was doing for him. And I like to say this, right? Rich people know rich people, poor people know poor people. It's just the way it is,
That's
right?
true.
And so he go tell one of his rich buddies, like, "Yo, I just made 20-30%. I ain't have to do nothing." You know, they like, "Wait, what?" Any
Mhm.
investor here 20 to 30% return, they like, "Connect me now."
Sign me up. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's kind of like how I started building it.
Okay. Um, when was your very first investment deal that you did on your own or with help, or however you want to do it? When was the first one you
You know
ever
this
did?
answer?
Yeah, I know the answer.
All right, so let me tell you this, right? Again, I didn't have a lot of money.
Right.
Okay. So but I wanted to do this. Like, I wanted it so bad. And so I got my tax return. Me and my husband tax return, it was $5,000. It was everything to me. Okay.
Mhm.
When I tell you I had 10 payday loans, I mean I was in debt to my eyeballs. I was struggling. My lights was due for disconnection. I had $5,000 and I had a choice.
What year was this?
2012.
Okay, keep going.
Hold on, what was your husband doing through all this the
He
whole
was
situation?
working, like, he was working 2 and 3 jobs, but I didn't have financial literacy. So everything we make, we would spend. We were consumers, right? I didn't learn.
Oh,
That's why I'm so passionate about being a producer now,
yeah,
that
yeah.
everything I do is an investment, and or I'm just, I'm a consumer and I
Mhm.
don't.
You y'all had like 2, 3 kids already,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
right?
I didn't mean
So
I was trying to set a
yeah.
timeline. Go ahead. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to cut you. I'm
Oh,
so
no, no,
sorry.
no,
Yeah.
you
Go ahead.
good. So, during that time, so I had $5,000. It was everything to me. Okay, everything to my husband. I'm like, "Baby, I have to find something with this money." And he was like, "But we need to do this." And I'm like, "I know." He was like, "Well, if you think we can do it, then let's do it. And I'll figure out what I need to figure out on the financial side or whatever the case may
Oh,
be."
he was encouraging you the whole time.
Oh yes, my husband is my anchor. I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at without that man. That's why I retired him 3 years ago. He's everything to me. And so what's funny was, I'm like, all right, I got the $5,000. I just got a real estate closing, so I got an extra $3,000. So I'm balling. I
Mm,
got $8,000.
mhm.
Now I need to find a property. Well, one of my friends that was a wholesaler had called me, was like, "Yo, T, I got a property. It's like $9,000." I'm like, "Man, that's that's like not too far from what we got."
Yeah.
And so I get to the problem, like, dude, it'll take all of my money and then I wouldn't have nothing to fix it up.
Mhm.
So I was like, "Look, I give you $5,000." He was like, "All right." So he sat on it for a few weeks and then it's like, "All right, I'm gonna take the $5,000."
For
So
a whole property.
for a whole property,
All right.
3 bedrooms, 1 bath, the ugliest house on the block, right?
Okay.
Anytime anybody hear me speak, I say, "Who said it gotta be pretty?" I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Where was it at?
Lafayette.
Oh, for real? So it wasn't in New Orleans. It was
No,
in Lafayette.
oh no, you can't even buy
Are there
roofs
any
for the
more of those $5,000
$5,000.
properties?
Huh?
Are there any more of those $5,000
Hell
Oh
properties?
yeah.
yeah, oh yeah. They may have 8 wheels up under them, but
Yeah.
they got some out there. But so we got the property for 5,000, and everybody was like, "Yo, how you made $3,000 work when you got to bootstrap something?" And
Mhm.
you don't have no more options, you don't got no other streams, you don't got nobody coming to give you $1, you're gonna make $3,000 work. So you know what
Mhm.
me and my husband did? We worked from sun up to sundown. We was about to get a divorce because I was like, "I can't stand you. You make me sick." Like, we would fuss and argue in this house all day and all night because we were so
So
tired,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
And we went to the Dollar General. We bought their peel and stick tile flooring. We couldn't afford much, right?
Mhm.
So who knew Dollar General sell flooring? They still sell flooring to this day.
Wow, I didn't
FYI.
know that.
Yeah. So but we knew that because when we was in New Orleans before Hurricane Katrina, before we went to Lafayette, we was trying to redo the apartment we was in, and I was like, let's put this down or whatever. So
Hold on. Like, can you give me detail like the mosaic 3D
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
nah, it was like that ugly wood, fake wood looking color square. Like it
Yeah.
was not like
And
Parquet,
it had like a 3D print, right?
nah.
like a parquet, like a fake parquet
Yeah,
wood floor.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, and so we had all that down. I mean, we went to Home Depot. We said, can you give me the oops paint? Now, mind you, I've been working with
yeah,
investors, so I
oops,
kind of know the
You know. Yep.
terminology,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So they was like, yeah. So I mean, we got the oops paint. We had a pink room, we had a blue room, then we had a neutral room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't get many options with oops paint.
damn.
Mm-hmm. Whatever's there,
It's like
whatever
a
oops they
gallon,
made.
That's it.
Yeah.
So then we had to do plumbing. I'm like, yo, we don't even know how to do plumbing. My husband's like, I'm a YouTube it. So then he started looking on YouTube how to, do
So
the
hold on,
plumbing.
what year is this?
2012.
So they had that on YouTube?
Yes, yes,
Wow.
yeah. So he's looking to see like how people talking about plumbing and stuff like that. So was able to get the plumbing going. Everything we did, we bootstrapped. So we made that $3,000 work, right? So when people say, "Oh, I don't got money to invest," you just have other things that's more important that you invest in.
Yep.
Like we all investors, right? But
Yep.
majority of the people don't get a return for the investment.
Yep.
And so that's how I did my first property. So $8,000, we was all into it. I went to my bank. I said, Carrie, look, I done sent you a lot of investors. I got horrible credit, but I'm a good person.
Mm-hmm.
If you give me a chance, you know what I'm saying, then, I'll be grateful. And it's like, say no more, say no more. He gave me my first deal. He took that property that I had for $8,000. It appraised for 60 after we
Wow.
finished everything. So they gave me $48,000 off that house. And with that $48,000, I went and bought multiple doors. And then I started building my portfolio like
So
that.
what did he give you, like a line of credit on it or something?
Yeah, 48,000.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you were like, man, I've hit his streets running.
Yeah, and so some say a line of credit. I just want to say the correct terminology
HELOC?
for me.
No?
No, not a HELOC because it wasn't my primary residence. He gave me, he pledged it, meaning that the bank said, okay, we'll take this property from you. We ain't gonna charge you nothing on it,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll give you $48,000 of it, right? So they just held my title for the $48,000.
Like collateral.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
collateral. And then I never had the full $48,000 like a line of credit, but the bank had it, if that makes sense, right? Like
Yep.
if I found something within those guidelines, then they would be able to go ahead and give it
They
to
would
me.
give you kind of like a draw towards it or
Yeah.
something. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you
That's
tell
a hometown bank.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a small
Yes.
bank? Yeah, it's a hometown bank.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah, Gulf Coast Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
can you tell everybody like what's the date and time and why'd you start working for free? Like that first.
You talking about when I was talking about on the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had the thing was whenever I was trying to find my niche, right, it was such a saturated market, right? So many people competing and, trying to get people's attention. Like, realtors were talking to all the for sale by owner. So by the time I called them, they'd be like, yo, we already talked to Woo-Doo. And then, it was like, man, this is frustrating.
Mhm.
So I was like, I got to find something that's going to be beneficial to me.
Separate yourself from everybody.
Right.
else.
So I went
Yeah.
and I literally went to gas stations. I went all over looking for investors. Like investors didn't come easy to me. And then one time I was in a gas station and a lady got upset over something and she wanted to speak to the owner. She didn't say the manager. She had said the owner. And I was like, wait, the owner? So then he came out and he was like, yeah, I'm the owner or whatever. And he helped her with the situation. And then I started talking to him and he was like, so why would I want to deal with you or whatever? I said, because number one, I'll work for free. Number two, I got time, right? Your little curly hair realtor that's at the other real estate firm, she busy. You know what I'm saying? She been doing this for a decade. She a dinosaur. You need somebody that's young, that got energy, that's motivated. I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? And so he respected that.
But you
You was like cleaning the houses out too, right?
Yeah, I
doing
mean,
everything.
there's not much I haven't did, Mario, in becoming successful. Well, I ain't sell my body, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But let me just be clear about that. I don't know nobody thinking that, right? But when it came down to hard work, I put my hair in a ponytail and I did what I had to do, 10 toes flat.
So like, can you like backtrack or like growing up in school and then like
Yeah.
and then the foster care and then becoming homeless and all that?
Yeah. So what I'll say is this, right? I didn't have like an easy start in life. Like people look at me now. I do all these interviews, I do all these podcasts, and they're like, people are so far away, with their success that they can't, really be touched, or it's not reality, or whatever the case may be. But I'll say this: at the age of 5 years old, my mother sold me to her drug dealer. I was sexually abused at 5 years old. And that made me put up walls, that made me hate people. It made me grow up very angry. It made me not even trust people. And, that made it extremely hard for me as a child because people would think that I was a problem child. But I wasn't a problem child. I was a hurt child, right?
You were reacting to.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would react, meaning I wanted other people to hurt like I was hurting, right?
Mhm.
And so one time my mother had left us in the house. One time it was like 3 days. It was me, my baby sister, and my oldest sister. And my older sister, that has passed away now, she was swallowing a penny and bringing it back up. She was trying to entertain us because we've been in the house for 3 days. We don't got no power. We don't got no water. You know what I'm saying? Like we hungry. And she's trying to entertain us to keep us focused from, knowing what's really going
Reality,
on.
yeah.
And then my baby sister started crying, like she's hungry, like the hunger pains are setting in. And so I remember my mother saying, "Don't you dare open that door, don't you dare go outside." I'm like, at this time, at 5 years old, I knew if I did not open up that door and go find us something to eat, we would starve. So I opened up the door, the sun hit me in my face, and I ran as fast as I could. My heart was beating uncontrollably out of my chest. Like I just knew I was going to get caught. And I grabbed the first thing I seen. I grabbed 2 hands full of grass and I ran back inside. And my baby sister was like, "I am not eating grass." And I'm like, well, if we don't eat this grass, then we could possibly die of starvation, and so that night we ate grass. And then shortly after that, we ended up in foster care. We all got separated. And then, just going through foster care, by this point in time, couldn't nobody tell me nothing. My mother sold my innocence at 5 years old. I'm a grown woman now. Like, you get what I'm saying? 8 years old, I'm grown. You can't tell me nothing. You can't. What is punishment? What is timeout? Like, what is that, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like, you can't tell me anything now at this point in time in
Yeah.
my life. And so I would constantly run away, just so I didn't have to deal with anything. And in foster care, they will always tell you, you don't want to end up a statistic. And you'd be like, well, what is a statistic, right?
Yeah.
And so they'll be like, you're pregnant by the time you're 16, you dropped out of school, and you own drugs or either prostituting. I'm like, well, I don't want to be that, right? Well, what I didn't realize was that all of my actions that I was doing, because the truth of the matter is, and this helped me as an adult to acknowledge that what my mother did to me was wrong, right? But as an adult, the things I was doing to myself was even wronger. So I allowed the ugly in somebody to come into my adult life, which was starting to set me back. So by the time I was 15 years old, I already had my first miscarriage, on my foster parents' bathroom floor, trying not to scream because they don't allow pregnant girls in their home. And I didn't want to go back to a group home. So I'm trying to endure this pain. And a lot of people that read my book know my story like this or whatever, right? And so by the time I'm 16 now, I'm traveling the world selling magazines. I lied about my age because I'm like, I just need to get away, and so I'm going door to door selling magazines, and I end up getting pregnant at 16 years old. And I was like, I got to get off the road now, right? So I had my son. Went back to the city of New Orleans, and I was supposed to be staying with a girlfriend, but her people was tripping. So me and Tyreek had to sleep up under the Claiborne Bridge. And to me, that was like my aha moment in life. Like people be like, yo, what was like who was your biggest mentor in life? I always say it's not who, it's what, right? Homelessness was my biggest mentor. Living up under that bridge with my son and holding him. And you know what I'm saying? And just feeling like a failure. Like every tear that fell down my face represented something personal to me. Like, I had tears of anger, tears of failure. I was inadequate. I was weak, just all of these different things. And then the thing that bothered me the most was that I seen my mother in myself. like I seen myself becoming her, meaning that if I didn't change something in my life, my son was going to end up in a foster care system. He was going to end up as a statistic like I was.
Mhm.
And I just didn't want that to happen. And so I made him a promise under that bridge. I said, as long as I have air in my lungs, you'll never experience homelessness again. You would never know what it's like to be hungry. You'll
Mhm.
never know what it's like to feel poor. You'll never know this feeling again. I promise you that. You know, and I'm saying this, I'm crying. I got snot boogers and tears on my face, right? I'm a
Mhm.
teenager, but I
Mhm.
want to be a better mom
You're
to him.
16 at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, well, 17 by
17.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted to be a better mom to him. And so, you know, getting through that situation wasn't easy, right? People be like, so yo, how you went from like being homeless up under the bridge to, you know, female real estate guru? Like it didn't
Mhm.
happen with a snap of a finger, right?
Mhm.
I had to do, you know, like for instance, you know, I spent all night on the payphone calling classified ads trying to see if somebody would just let me stay in a place until I get some money, you know.
Mhm.
And there was one man who said yes. And I told him, I said, I'll sell my food stamps when they come and I'll give you the money, whatever it is,
Mhm.
just to be able to put a roof over my son's head. And he was like, nah, you're not going to sell your food stamps to me. I'm going to help you. And so that was my first hand up in life, you know. And then from there, you know, I just started keeping my promise to my son. I kept going and going and going and
Mhm.
going and going. And I didn't allow nobody to stop me. And by this time, you know, people hear me say this in interviews a lot. I'm street strong. That
Mhm.
means I done been through hell and back. Can't nothing and or nobody break me. There's nothing I haven't seen done. There's not a lie I haven't heard. There's not a pain I haven't felt.
Mhm.
Right. So I think I'm built for whatever adversity comes ahead of me. And so I think the most embarrassing part for me being homeless was that I was homeless, but I had a pair of Jordans on my feet and my son had a pair of J's on his feet.
Mhm.
But we homeless.
Yep.
And so, you know, I was just telling Mario and his wife in the car, like, I'm not a flashy person no more.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I'm like, if you ever read the book, The Millionaire Next Door, that's me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not the person who needs to land in a private jet and bring a Rolls Royce or a Bentley or anything like that. And I'm not saying there's wrong for anybody like that.
Mhm.
But at
Mhm.
my lowest moment, I realized I had somebody else's legacy on me. I
Mhm.
realized I was somebody else's billboard at that moment, and I couldn't do anything as a mother for
Mhm.
the person who I'm supposed to take care of the most. And so that was life changing for me. I never wanted to ever do that. And from that day forward, I have not bought any of my children Jordans. Now they'll call aunties and all these other people and be like, yo, can you get me these? My mom don't buy these. Nope.
I don't buy it either.
Mm-mm. Nope. You
Yep.
get a regular pair of shoes. And you know what my children's school budget is still to this day? $40.
Yep.
$40. Now my children are hustlers. So they babysit, they go do whatever, and they wear nice
Yeah.
clothes and shoes and things like that. But it's not at the hand of me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's at the hand of them. So if
Mhm.
that's what you want to invest into, that's fine. But I'm not investing into that. I'm going to invest into your trust. How about that?
Yep.
So when I'm gone, you have something beyond
Mhm.
those old pair of shoes you've been wearing.
Yep. So this what if my math is right? This is like 2001
When?
when you were homeless. 2099, 2000?
No, no. I was homeless in 2004.
2004. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's not that long ago,
Yeah.
right? It's
Well,
less than 20 years ago.
yeah. Less,
So you
yeah.
supposed to be like a senior in high school, right?
Yeah, he's a senior. Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
you supposed to be a senior in high school in 2004.
Yeah, so what happened was, that's funny that you talk about that because nobody never asked me, so how did you go back to school and how did you finish or whatever? Well, being in foster care and them having a program to help you back on the road, I was able to go back after I had my son and in the midst of me getting pregnant with my other daughter at 19 and be able to go and graduate.
So you got your GED or your
I got my
diploma?
diploma.
Oh, for real?
Mhm.
Oh, that's dope.
So let's put that in perspective, though. 2005 was Hurricane Katrina,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy times
No.
because you moved then, right?
In August of 2005, yes.
Was it after Hurricane Katrina, right?
No, August 2005 was Hurricane Katrina.
No. So you moved subsequent of that.
Yes,
So
correct.
that's what I'm saying. These are not hard. These are not easy times for you.
No, but at this
2000
point, nothing was easy. So it just
Yeah.
seemed like life.
Just like
Yeah.
this part of going with the flow.
Yeah, like what's
Yeah.
next?
So
Yeah.
so when Katrina happened, you went from New Orleans to Lafayette.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You
And
didn't
then-
want to come to Houston?
Nah.
Like
Nah.
everybody else?
Well, let me just say this, right? I've forgiven the state of Texas and the city of Houston. But Houston did not want refugees here during that time. And they made it very clear. And in fact, the governor said, we do not want New Orleans people here.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that.
Yeah.
Like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have forgiven
things
you
change. I mean,
guys.
there was a lot of stuff in Houston that changed at that moment.
Yeah.
And it was apparent that it was, because of people that were coming over. But
they said like the crime went up when y'all came down here.
I'm sure it did.
So you're the city of New Orleans, historically, it is what it is. And so
it was like the murder capital back then.
It was. Yeah, actually it was. Yeah.
It was.
In Chicago. Now imagine all the Chicago people coming to Houston. It's the same type of scenario, but
I just don't get why they think Houston's so innocent. Like,
No.
Houston, like,
No.
They just saw that
some ruggedness out here.
No, we do. They just saw that the crime rate went up, and they just started panicking.
Yeah.
So then going forward, like 2005, you're in Lafayette at some point. The gap between 2005 and then when we first started your journey as a real estate agent, how did that process go?
I got my license in 2006.
So you didn't play no games.
No.
So 2006, you're how old? 20? No,
I don't know.
Like
20.
Yeah, 20.
About 20.
I was born in 1985,
yeah.
so however old that was at that time.
She's like 20.
Yeah.
21. Yeah. So you got your real estate
By
license.
then I had 2 kids for sure, though. That's what I do know. Ask me how many kids I have. I can kind of keep up with history.
Yeah. So, and at some point you got married.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you meet your husband at?
He from New Orleans.
But where did y'all meet at, though?
Oh, funny story. I'll make it very quick. Okay, so during the time that I had just had my daughter, this was right before Hurricane Katrina. And again, I couldn't keep the place we were living at or whatever. And so I had to go and live with a friend. Her name was Nancy. And during this time, Nancy was talking to my best friend, which his name was Al. Now, me and Al have never been with each other or anything like that, right? He just was somebody who always looked out for me since high school. And so she was like being super helpful because she didn't want me to go by his house. So we ended up going by her mom's house, me, Ataya, which I had just had her like 2 weeks before I met Albert, and then my son, Tyreek, who was 11 months at the time. And so she did everything possible to keep me away from my best friend Al. So she ended up calling me. She's like, hey, there's a guy I want to introduce you to. I'm like, I just had a baby. I'm not really trying to meet nobody, whatever. And she was like, no, you're going to like him. She was like, I think he used to be on crack, but he recovered. And I'm like, what? Now, mind you, right? Like, I'm like, oh, well, if he's recovered.
Let's give him time to recover. Let's give him more time.
Look, I didn't have, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't have, like, I don't know. I laugh now when I think about what I said to her. But anyway, so I was like, all right, cool. So I called him. He wasn't home. He had called me back or whatever. And then we had met up. And he was trying to, he always say this word. I don't like this word, but this is his exact words. He's like, man, I was just trying to smash her. I'm like, what? So he was like, so he thought it was like a group effort whenever she introduced me to him, but it wasn't that. She was really feeling my best friend and she needed me out the picture. So she introduced me to Albert, which is my husband. And I mean, we just hit it off. I mean, he stepped up to be a father to my 2 kids. He adopted them, gave them his last name. Been in their life ever since, my daughter was 2 weeks. My son was 11 months old, and rest is history. I mean,
so the best friend was Al, and then you got Albert.
Yeah,
right?
And we call him Al too.
Really?
So that's why I be, I have to,
distinguish the two.
Yeah, I have to. And so she ended up not with my best friend Al.
Yeah.
And me and Al, 17 years later, is still here.
Cool, where'd y'all go on your first date?
Piccadilly.
Oh, for real?
Look, I'm easy.
I was just trying to smash.
Look,
do they still have those in Houston? Piccadilly?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't see them
done.
no.
Look, I'm telling you, I ain't know Al was a difficult man until you put too many options in front of his face. He very simple, you cook 4 items, he'll eat all 4 items. You give him 30 items, he like, well, I don't. So he took like 30 minutes in a Piccadilly line. I was like, oh yeah, he gonna be a challenge.
Do you is your mother still around? No? Yeah.
Yeah, she's still around. I don't really
socialize with her.
Yeah, like there's not like a real relationship with us. She's she has that victim mindset. you know, where like her mother did the same thing to her. Her mother wasn't I guess a very great mother to her.
But she's
And
not accountable.
so, yeah, so she don't believe she did anything wrong to her children.
Damn.
Yeah.
I got my own opinion on that. But
do you need her to own up to what she did for y'all to move on, or it doesn't matter?
No. If I needed that, I wouldn't be sitting here right now, right?
Mhm.
So for me, I just chose to forgive her and to move forward with my life. Like there's nothing she can do and or say to hurt me or destroy me anymore. Like she don't have that power, she don't have that authority in my life at all.
Is there anybody that you like resent, like you you just like is there any grudges that you have held, like
Towards who? My mother?
no, like just anybody like on your way up?
So I mean, I have enough to remember as it is.
yeah, I
So
think
like
yeah.
I don't have time to be like, I think when you hold grudges and you hold resentment, like that takes up a part of your brain that can be used for something else. And I don't allow nobody to have that type of territory inside my head. Like you're not going to play inside my head like it's a playground and you can just go up and down the slide as much as you want. So, you know, I'm quick to cut somebody off. Like if I see somebody shady, then I'm like, you know, yo, I'm out. You know, if people got like wrong intentions of motives, they unethical, you know, people do things just for $1. Like I don't have those people in my circle. Like we gotta have some type of standards and values. And so for me, I don't have resentment towards anybody. Now people may have resentment towards me because I don't care, right? Like if I offend you and you don't come tell me, I mean, ain't nothing I can do.
So it's safe to say you're battle tested.
I mean, you know, I'm always willing to put on some armor, especially as a developer. You got to have some armor on.
So that is an interesting backstory, and the average person doesn't go through something like that. But at the same time, there are a lot of people in that situation. Sometimes people can't see their way out of situations. Imagine if you had, you know, a phone with YouTube on it, you know, even when you were homeless, because you know anybody has a phone now, and you heard a podcast similar to this of somebody in the same scenario, and you're in that scenario. So to me, the takeaway is there is always a way out. You just gotta crawl and fight your way there. You gotta have enough inside of you to get out of it.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Does any of your kids remember being homeless?
No, so me and my son, so just my son was homeless, not my daughter.
Okay.
So, but my son, like I've taken him to the Claiborne Bridge in New Orleans. We walked around. I showed him all the homeless people that was there, you know, showed him where we slept at, you know. But I mean, he knows the story, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Cool.
His Instagram name is Claiborne.
Oh,
That's cool. It's
funny.
inspiring. It's very inspiring.
I like that though.
So fast forward now, you're this real estate female real estate guru, and I got the male real estate guru over here.
Yeah, you know.
So we were chit chatting, and you are a developer of real estate, which means you take plots. Excuse me if I'm wrong. I could be ignorant here, but you take plots of land, develop streets in them, put street signs up, name the street signs after your kids, put homes in there. Build the homes, put mixed-use buildings in there, apartment complexes.
Whatever can go. And
you do all of that, or your group does all of that.
Yes, we do it all.
I'm blowed. Not everybody does all of that. Normally, there's a developer who develops the land, sells them, you know, to a home builder, and the home builder builds the homes. Do you still hold your real estate license? Awesome.
Yeah, I have 23 agents throughout the state of Louisiana.
Cool.
So like you got like a set of contractors, or you got like how do you?
We have our own team.
You got your own team, and then like how do you go about the permits? Because that's like I really don't like dealing with permits.
Right. So why?
Like my first permit was I got it. It was an electricity permit. It was with his cousin, and.
Why it's got to be my cousin?
I mean, that's how it was.
All Mexicans look alike, huh? Call me my cousin. It's an inside joke.
So like, I'm there. He's there. His cousin's there. He walks the.
I'm there.
Yeah, you're there.
I don't remember this. Go ahead.
So he walks the he walks the guy to the breaker box, and then the guy, puts the green sticker, right? And then I'm like, all right, cool, we got the permit. Then he walks to the front of the house. I had some plumbers that we told to leave. They stayed. And he's like, man, you gonna need permits for all this. Like, I need to know what's in these walls. To make a long story short, I had to get 2 more permits for the inside, and it pushed my project back, like, I want to say, like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, which wasn't a big deal, but I'm like at that time I had some money, so I'm trying to just hop from one house to one. I'm just, just trying to keep, and he just pushed it back a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what I say is this: I love permits, right? Permits keep me from getting sued, especially when you do a lot of volume, right? Okay. And the thing with permits is, someone is at fault, right? The city got all their ridiculous rules and all these loops that they want you to jump through. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's for your protection. It is. They trying to protect a house fire from happening if wiring is old and, busted up or whatever. And, I have a friend now that's dealing with a situation where her apartment complex caught a fire and a child died, an 8-year-old child died, right? And so, again, not to say her building wasn't coded or anything, like, it was good. But at the end of the day, I like the extra protection. But I'm also the person who's not hard to sell insurance to, right? I got too much of it. I just believe in that type of protection. But in regards to permits, it's not hard for us to get permits. The hardest part as a real estate developer is getting through the planning part, right? So you got planning and zoning. And for me, those are the headaches because, dealing with, the traffic laws and, dealing with the amount of homes you want to put versus what they saying. And if they change the UDC, then you gotta be up to game on that. And, the street curbs got to be a certain height. They got to be handicap accessible. And if they change the width on that, it's a lot that you have to be informed about and make sure you stay involved in. One of the ways to make permitting easy is by getting involved with the city. The city loves whenever you come and hang out with them, you just talk with them, you buy them lunch or whatever the case may be. Like, they like that kind of stuff. But not just that, shaking hands with the right people. Like, I can call the mayors, I can call my city council members, I can call whoever I need to get whatever I need done. And if I'm having a hard time with a permit, like what you were having, then it's important to have friends in high places, right? To be able to say, okay, this is why we need to do this, and T, let me talk with that inspector and see what's really going on.
Board.
Well, I don't like they boys. I don't do that. I'm so by the book because the moment.
No. What I'm saying is sometimes they'll make something hard for no reason.
That's right. And they'll tell you too. They'll be like, yo, you got that difficult inspector, right? Yeah. But they got some people who you can pay up under the table and they'll give you a permit. I don't like the boys like that. Yeah, they make me nervous.
That's called getting caught up.
Yeah, when you got millions of dollars at play, you're not trying to get shut down for something that's simple, But the planning and zoning process, I think for me, is more of a headache because, you have this beautiful vision of how you see a community. For me, I like work, sleep, eat, and play type communities, right? Smart growth communities where everybody commingle with everybody, bringing kids back outside and from in front of gadgets and things like that, right? Like all of that is important to me, along with gadgets. That's important as well. But to be able to get them to see what the grass feel like. Kids don't even know that no more. Like, what I'm saying? They don't know what it feel like to get, brush burns on your knees and stuff like that. And so for me, when I think of communities, I invest into underserved communities that people would never put a dollar into. And so one of the greatest things that President Donald Trump did, whether people agree or not, right, is he created opportunity zones. Now, the poor was like, oh, that's just a vehicle for the rich. Nah, you whack, right? No, that's a vehicle to change your community. That's a vehicle to get the drug dealers out your community. That's a vehicle for developers like myself to come in and buy everything and say, get out. You see what I'm saying? When you own everything, you in control. That's that ownership. You tell them what they doing and what they not doing. You see somebody on your block and you like, yo, what you doing? You selling drugs? Like, I'm not afraid of no drug dealers. Like, you get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, the person who owns the most has the most to say.
That's
You
right.
get what I'm saying? And, you know, a drug dealer, yeah, they powerful, they got guns or whatever. But I tell you one thing, they not about to go up against the mayor and all the other key players in the city who can make
No.
their
Yeah.
lives
No.
very, very difficult.
Yeah.
You
No.
get,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're trying
So
to fly under the
yeah,
radar.
they trying to be
Yeah.
under the radar. You know what I'm saying? You coming against me, you on the radar. I'm gonna
Yeah.
let everybody know. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I do not mind interrupting inner cities where people try to keep people protected. I
Mhm.
don't mind going to interrupt that.
Mhm.
And so for me, when I go, I don't just people be like, oh, I just bought the block. I just bought 12 buildings or what. Not to say anything wrong with that. You got to start somewhere. But for
Mhm.
me, I think you got to wipe out everything that's going on there and be able to start, you know, the type of communities you want. The other thing that's important to me is affordability. So like when my story went viral, people were like, "Oh, she's building affordable projects. She's building affordable housing." No, I am building economy-friendly houses. You know what that means? That means the people that's working at the hospitals in the cafeteria that's making $20,000 to $30,000
Can buy a
a
house.
year.
Yep.
Now they can buy a house. That's
Yep.
the kind of houses I'm buying. I ain't getting a handout from the government. The government ain't give me not one thing.
Mhm.
The only time the government reached out to me was to bring me to the White House. That was it. I've never
Mhm.
got a penny from the government. I don't do subsidized, right?
Mhm.
I believe subsidized is needed for individuals who are in very difficult situations, but I also believe that our society has become so lazy and dependent upon the government that they just want to remain in that situation
Mhm.
and call themselves hood rich.
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe in that. I believe, you know, we all have a chance and opportunity to be able to do something with our lives and to have ownership and not sit around and complain about, you know, what's not being done for them. And so when I invest into these communities, you know, we're looking for acreage, you know, to be able to create the type of communities that we want to create, you know, with Madeline Cove, a community that I'm doing right now. You know, when I dedicated that street sign to my son, it was very important to me, but it was also very emotional for me because at the end of the day, I fulfilled my promise as his mother up
Mhm.
under that bridge. Like I did exactly what I said I was going to do for you, kid. Now the rest is on you, but I did my part, you know?
Yep. Yep.
But I think that that's important to know that as a developer, you going into birth communities, you're birthing life. You, especially if you're in underserved communities, right? Like I got friends that develop, but they high end. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I even know people out here, they, you know, they buy the block, they develop, they believe the rich need to come back in the poor neighborhoods. And I think that that's a great model for them, right?
Mhm.
I cater to the everyday working American that makes
Mhm.
20, 30, and $40,000 a year and can't qualify for $500,000.
That's interesting. So some of the projects that you've done or are doing, I don't know what it is, but describe them. I mean, how big
Mhm.
are they? How many houses are there?
Yeah. So right now I have a pretty extensive portfolio, but what I'll say is, you know, Madeline Cove is a mixed use growth community, one of its kind in an opportunity zone. You know, we have residential houses, we have townhouses that's going to be built in a year and a half, right? That's phase
Is
2.
everything for sale or is there some built to rent?
No. So how would I say this nicely, right? So we want ownership.
Okay.
Yeah, we want ownership, right? Because
Okay.
this area, what we have to
What you're
understand
saying
is
is you want ownership for
them. Yeah,
them. Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
The reason why I say that is because in these communities, that's what you expect.
Okay.
You expect to rent a house
Mhm.
and to keep it, right?
Mhm.
And I have over 200 rentals, so I'm not like opposed rentals, right?
Right.
There's a place for rentals, right?
Mhm.
There's also a place for ownership. And so we are pretty strict with not allowing you know, renters to come in and just rent or
Investors to
whatever.
buy and then rent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right now we're not outselling to anybody. We
Yep.
keeping everything. And
Yep.
we're
Well, that's what I mean.
yeah.
Some communities will either they don't
Mhm.
care, don't know, but somebody will come in there as an investor, buy it, and then just put it for rent.
That's right.
So you police that,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the way from the architectural design, like how the mailbox looks, all that is important for this community because it is a catalyst for other communities around the world. So,
Mhm.
like, we got people in Texas right now saying, look, we're going to give you all of our adjudicated land, municipalities. We're going to give you all of our adjudicated land. You come do what you're doing in Louisiana here. right?
That's awesome.
Atlanta, California, Africa. Like I'm telling you, we've gotten phone calls from all over the world with people wanting us to come and revitalize their
Yeah,
inner cities.
yeah. Because the concept works.
Yes, because it works. I mean,
So at some point, like I mean, your career in real estate development, I mean, at some point it becomes political. You think? Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
to get into politics.
No, I'm not saying it.
Oh.
It already is political to some
Mhm.
point because you're developing property in Lafayette,
Mhm.
right? Lafayette is this big compared to
Mhm.
Houston and some other big cities.
Mhm.
So you are having to deal with politics to a certain degree right now, like you just said.
Mhm.
You know, you know the mayor,
Mhm.
those types of individuals. So at some point, as you continue to grow, you know, your vision,
Mhm.
at some point it becomes political,
Mhm.
right? Or wrong?
Mm-mm,
No?
not for me.
Okay.
Yeah, not
Just
for
a
me.
question. Yeah.
So I'll say this: I have a lot of friends that are into the political arena, right?
Mhm.
And I just make sure I endorse them. I endorse everybody on
Good.
both sides, right?
Yeah.
Republican, Democrat, Independent. I don't care who you are,
Yeah.
right? The reason why I do that is because I don't know who's gonna win, right?
Mhm.
I know what my core values is. I know what I stand for. I know what I believe, right?
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, that don't necessarily mean I'm gonna win.
Right.
So I gotta make sure I got friends in high
both
places
sides.
at all times.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? And it's not, oh, she playing both sides. No, I'm not gonna pick no side. If anybody who knows Terrica Lynn Smith knows one thing for sure. I am just me unapologetically. I ain't gonna hide nothing from
Yep.
you. I'm gonna tell you, like you asked me, did I say this? Yes.
Mhm. I get like most of the people that are in real estate can become selfish to a certain degree. Like you want it all, right?
Mhm.
You want to own everything. So Terica, what I get out of your ventures and everything that you want to do is a lot of selflessness. I feel like you're genuinely doing these things to help a community and other communities.
Yes.
Good, good.
And my generation.
Exactly, good.
Yes.
So how'd you meet Eric Thomas?
So I met E through a program that he have. Actually I was terrified of public speaking and
Oh,
I knew
so you was one of the few people that was picked in his program.
Nah, he have a program called Game Changers, right?
Mhm.
Where he teach you how to speak publicly.
Oh.
And so him and CJ and Cantus and Val and all of them worked really hard to get me to the point where I'm confident about sharing my story. Like I couldn't talk about being sexually abused at 5 without crying. Right. And that happened in 2018 that I started being able to speak publicly about what took place with me.
I had wondered how you were going to get through that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How'd you meet David Shans?
David Shans was also a part of the program as well. And he I mean, we just connected. At first I didn't really care for Shans because he was like, you know, if you ain't charging people, then you're a non-profit or something like that. I can't remember how he said it. And then now it's like, you know, he's my brother, you know. We do real estate in real life, you know.
I got
Cool.
like 5 little things. I want you to pick one.
All right, let's go.
So rent a property or flip.
Rental,
Land or house.
land,
Section 8 or regular tenant.
Section 8,
Money or equity.
equity,
Eric Thomas or Shans.
both.
he tried to set you up. He tried to set you up. Oh my goodness.
I'm done.
That was a good one at
He
the
tried-
end, though. That was a good one at the
Y'all
end.
say that one.
That was
He
good
tried
at
to
the
set
end.
you up.
Yeah, that was a good one at the end.
So, on top of all that stuff, you're a public speaker, right? You're a public speaker. You sell a board game.
I created a board game.
She created a board game that teaches.
them how to create generational wealth through real estate development.
Oh, so I need to buy it then. Yep. So, and there's one more thing. What was it?
My course, Invest You course.
That's right.
The course is called Invest You because you have to invest yourself first. I didn't invest in myself. I was homeless and I had on another man's legacy. No offense to him, but I know I got to invest myself first.
And so, give us this basics of what that course does.
So, Invest You course teaches you all the way from saying you don't have no money, how I used to be. So I help you find money in the first half of the course with literally what you make right now. And then you have to go on punishment for a certain period of time in the course, right? I put you on punishment. And then once you come off of punishment, then you start making investments into real estate. And then I teach you the different industries of real estate investing.
Awesome. So
very simple.
Yeah, nobody needs to go anywhere else.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Excellent, excellent. So, again, you are Terica Lynn Smith,
Yeah.
Googleable.
Yeah.
I can Google Terica.
Yeah, you can Google me. I would think so. Yeah.
You're the only female.
So I'm the first African American female developer in the state of Louisiana that developed a mixed use community.
All right.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I didn't know who you were until today.
That's okay.
Now I know. I know you very well. I feel like I met you 10 years ago. So we're going to wrap the show up. I thoroughly enjoyed
I did too.
having Terica here. I learned a lot. You've gone through ups and downs, and I believe you are an asset to any community.
Thank you.
That you go to. And
can I say one more thing?
Sure.
For y'all in?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that I want to tell people that's watching is this, right? Wealth does not come overnight. So you watching this podcast and it may seem like, things can happen very fast, but the transfer of wealth is from the inpatient to the patient. And always remember, poor people buy liabilities that are rich people assets. Thank you.
I don't think there's a better way to end that.
That was perfect.
We'll catch y'all on the next episode, guys. We're out.